Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and fellow changemakers, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, from where you are joining. My name is Amit Tuteja, and I am from Connecting Dreams Foundation. It is both an honor and a privilege to introduce our esteemed keynote speaker for this session at Changemaker 20 Summit. With his profound insights and extensive experience in the field of economics and sustainable development, Dr. Jebamalai brings a wealth of knowledge that promises to illuminate our understanding of the contemporary world and its dynamics. Dr. Jebamalai is a remarkable economist who has made significant contributions to the realm of economics, industrial growth, and innovation systems. His journey, marked by dedication and innovation, has characterized by the commitment of fostering sustainable development and promoting social inclusion through his work. His expertise extends across diverse areas from trade liberalization in Southeast Asia to determinants of competitiveness and national industrial innovation systems. As we gather here to discuss the era of creative destruction triggered by disruptive technologies and the youth, Dr. Jebamalai's insights are more relevant than ever. His decades-long involvement in the international community, academia, and consultancy work uniquely positions him to shed light on the transformative power of disruptive technologies and their impact on the youth. His understanding of how these technologies drive creative destruction and shape our societies offer us a compass to navigate this rapidly changing landscape. Without further ado, please join me in extending a warm virtual welcome to Dr. Jebamalai. We eagerly anticipate his keynote address and are certain that his insights will inspire us all to embrace the challenges and opportunities of the digital age with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. Thank you, sir, and over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Amit Tuteja and other organizers. It is with a profound sense of gratitude I express my sincere thanks to the organizers, and particularly my friend Mr. Rajit Thomas, who was primarily instrumental for my participation. Thank you very much for the nice introduction. I feel honored. Let me just start with the definition of creative destruction. This phrase was originally coined by the famous economist Joseph Schumpeter to describe rapid, revolutionary, and complete changes, though they make changes that make what is happening today irrelevant tomorrow. So how we position the youth in the context of creative destruction. And creative destruction actually triggers a transformative shift from quantitative increase to qualitative improvement. That's another dimension of creative destruction. Now, in order to make the young boys and girls a development catalyst in this process of creative destruction, we have to enhance their functional literacy rate. Functional literacy rate refers to the percentage of literates imbued with the enhanced adaptive capabilities and skills to use modern technology and to commercialize new knowledge. A country may be blessed with a 100% literacy rate. If the functional literacy rate is very low, then the young boys and girls who come out of institutions will remain in the state of joblessness, and they will not be effectively empowered in the development process. This is what is happening. We are seeing it. And the institutions prepare students for entry into employment and not for employment. When the boys and girls are recruited even through campus recruitment on day one at the enterprise, they are not operational because their functional literacy rate is very low. I will just give you one example. In 1856, at the Crystal Palace exhibition, British goods were very attractive. Everybody wanted to buy British goods. And they were stunned to silence at the marvels demonstrated by the British goods. Then Americans and Japanese wanted to know what was happening in England. They went there to realize that the functional literacy rate was very high, around 68% of the literates. And after 50 years at the same exhibition, American goods became very popular. Everybody was attracted by the American goods. They all wanted to go and see what was going on. And they realized that the functional literacy rate in US was 78%, much higher than England. That's why they were doing much better than England. England was the pioneer of industrial revolution, we know that. And then after 50 years, Japanese goods penetrated the entire global market. At the same exhibition, Japanese goods became very popular. Everybody wanted to go and see what was going on in Japan, and they realized that in Japan, the functional literacy rate was almost 100%. So enhancing the adaptive capabilities and skills of young boys and girls to use modern technology and to commercialize new knowledge is critical, very, very critical. Why? Because the current transformative shift and the new era of creative destruction are triggered by disruptive technologies today. Disruptive technologies, as I meant in my introduction during the inaugural session, are advanced digital production systems, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, additive manufacturing, big data management, cloud computing, and then 3D printer, electromobility, Internet of Things, Internet of Electricity, Internet of Services. And then we even talk about mind nets and also the so-called quantum computing. It is being said that quantum computing can eradicate extreme poverty everywhere. I was wondering, first when I read the news, I didn't realize it. And then I realized that if someone invests a small amount in stock exchange, within the framework of quantum computing, it will automatically pick up the winning stock shares and reinvest every minute, every second. And it is possible that the rate of return from a small investment done by a poor man may be very high. This is what they say in theory. This is being explained in theory. So it is very important to enhance the functional literacy rate. Now, when I was interviewed for a job in the UN, I just want to narrate this episode, very interesting episode. The chairman of the committee looked at my CV and he said, "You have done something in economics. You have studied MA, MPhil, PhD, and diploma in higher education, and so many other degrees." And he said, "It is not the question of what you have, you see, but what you can." Then he picked up a paper entitled "An Optimal Industrial Structure for France Projected for the Year 1990. It happened in 1980. Okay, I was interviewed for the post in 1980. And he asked me to make a critical appraisal of that paper. Very tough paper. So I took 1 week to make, because he wanted to test. As an economist, I was supposed to demonstrate my analytical power of interpreting this one. So my functional literacy rate as an economist is determined by my power of analysis, analyzing critical issues and options and deducing implications for policy actions. So when I met him after 1 week, he was reading the first page, second page of my report. When he was reading the third page, he said, "Oh, now it makes sense, you see." This is what he said. "Now it makes sense." So then on that day, I realized it is not the question of what you have, but what you can. That is very, very important. Now, when you want to participate effectively in the development process within the framework of all the sustainable development goals, 18 goals and 168 targets and 246 indicators, it is important that you are in a situation to play a role to foster sustainable economic development with a programmatic accent on enhancing economic efficiency achieving ecological compliance and social inclusion. This is very, very important. So economic efficiency means if you happen to be an entrepreneur after completing your degrees, work for a firm, you should see to it that whatever you do should achieve optimal output at the least cost combination of factors of production. This is economic efficiency. And then ecological compliance, whatever you do should comply with ecological norms to protect the planet and the people. If you do business to destroy the planet, there will be no planet to do business. This is being increasingly proved now. Then social inclusion. By achieving some degree of social inclusion, you really become a global citizen. In a truly globalized world, in an ideal globalized world, people should have, young boys and girls should have the right to disperse with passport and without visa. Of course, that is a utopian aspiration that may not see the light of reality. Let us not break our head on that. But staying in your own country, you can be a global citizen by contributing to the welfare of the people. I will just narrate one small example of my own experience. At one point in my UN career, I was posted as a UNIDO country representative in Sudan, in Khartoum. So on day one, it was a Friday, it was a holiday because it's a Muslim country, it's a holiday. I was a bit bored in a new place. So I thought I should go to the office and spend some time. When I went there, the security guard got up and saluted me and said, good morning. So I said, I am the new country representative. Yes, sir, I have seen your photo. Welcome, sir. Then I went to my office. I saw a girl sweeping the floor. And at one point, I asked her, what's your name? I'm sorry. Sorry. I have to get it up. Sorry for the interruption. If you can take this phone away. Okay, I'm sorry for the interruption. Okay. So it was, so I asked her, she said her name was Angelina. And then I said, what are you doing? She said, I am a sweeping lady. I'm cleaning. I'm the cleaning lady of UNIDO office. Then how long you are working as a cleaning lady? He said, 18 years. She spoke excellent English. In fact, her accent was much better than mine. And she articulated everything in grammatically defensible English. Very good. I was impressed. Then I went to Hilton for lunch. And when I came back, she left because it was a holiday. She left. And she left a note on my desk saying, Sir, Mr. Yelnavavi, director of Arab Bureau from UNIDO headquarters called me and he requested me to just convey this message. And it was Shakespearean and I would say Milton English. Then I told myself, my God, this girl imbued with this talent cannot continue as a cleaning lady. Then I was looking for an opportunity to promote her. There was a vacancy for security guard. I promoted her. I asked her to apply for the position. So I just called and then he said, you cannot promote a cleaning lady. I said, I am paying from my budget. Your job is to interview her among other candidates you interview. After 1 week, he called me and said, sir, she is very good. What I did was, I asked her to attend all the weekly meetings every day. And she was exposed to all the terminologies and terms we use in the UN. And she was freely answering all the questions in the interview. She stood first and I recruited her as this. Then within 6 months, I promoted her as a security guard and the front desk receptionist. And to make the long story short, at one point, she left the UN and became the chief secretary of the office of the president of South Sudan. She was running in the office of Mr. Salva Kiir. And she told at an international conference, Mr. Arachi, they call me Arachi in UN. He discovered me. No, I am very proud that I got an opportunity to boost it. So when you get into activities of this, when you have that mindset to help people, you will really translate your thoughts into deeds and make an indelible impact on the poor. This is exactly what is called social inclusion. You will also get many opportunities to do. Okay. Now, in this new era of creative destruction, knowledge is a source and innovation is a force. Knowledge is a source and innovation is a force. Innovation plays a key role in unlocking the development potential of countries. It is important to know what are the types of innovations. One is national innovation system, another one is sectoral innovation, incremental innovation, and grassroots innovations. I will define these types of innovations with crystal clear clarity and high degree of brevity because of the time factor. In an ideal national innovation system, new knowledge is generated by institutions, exploited by laboratories, and commercialized by dynamic firms. So there is a high degree of interactive framework between institutions, laboratories, and dynamic firms. So where does it exist? The best type of national innovation system. It exists in Singapore. Singapore has virtually no resource. They don't get an opportunity to convert resource-based comparative advantages into competitiveness, but they are extremely good at enhancing the global competitiveness of their products and services using human ingenuity as an infinite source of wealth creation. That comes from very close interactive framework between institutions, laboratories, and dynamic firms. That's why Singapore tops the list of countries on the scale of industrial performance for more than 25 consecutive years. Can you imagine, with no resource, virtually with no resources, it is at the top of countries on the scale of industrial performance. And then I will say a few words about sectoral innovation system. Some countries are doing extremely well. India is doing extremely well in space research. Like that, some countries are doing extremely well in selected sectors. India is doing very well in space research and pharmaceuticals. China is doing extremely well in telecommunications. Okay, and because of determined effort to increase the research intensity and innovation-related activities in a particular sector. And sometimes what happens, we have great institutions and we have a large pool of scientists and engineers, and then there is what is called institutionalized inactivity in R&D and innovation. So there should be determined effort to correct this system. And then incremental innovation. This is a very common type of innovation that is happening now. For incremental innovation, you don't have to invent anything new. You develop your capability to use that. Then you will get the benefit of incremental. This is a common thing. For effective incremental innovation, there should be effective transfer of technology. And the effective transfer of technology stems from your capability to acquire the right technology, assimilate the technology, adopt the technology, adapt it to learn to do what? Learn to do something, invent something that befits the country's specific context. Actually, the Tata Indiga was the best example for this, for incremental innovation. In incremental innovation, what happens? 3 L's are happening: linking, leveraging, and learning. You first establish your link with the dynamic sources of growth, which are normally across the border. Then leverage your capabilities and skills. You have resources. You leverage those capabilities and skills with those dynamic sources of growth. And in the process of leveraging your resources with the dynamic sources of growth, you learn to invent something new. See, in the Indian market was protected for 2 car producers for more than 4 decades. And then came, or 5 decades, then came the waves of liberalization, exposing all car manufacturers to competitive pressures for efficiency gains. So in an internationally competitive environment, it is not the question of survival of the biggest or smallest, but the fastest. Only those who keep pace with the rapidly changing facets of surviving in an internationally competitive environment will survive, others will fall apart. You have to keep pace with the rapidly changing facets of processing, design, and marketing. So what happened? Tata effectively linked its company with the dynamic sources of growth, leveraged its resources with that. In that process, they learned, and within 3 years, Tata came out with a 100% indigenous car of world class, Tata Indica. At that time, it was very popular. So this is what is called effective transfer of technology. This is very important. And then comes grassroots innovations. Today, we talk a lot about non-R&D innovations. In order to be innovative, you don't have to actually run the research cell or laboratory. You learn from your customers, you learn from your distributors, you learn from so many sources and try to be innovative. And whenever I am invited by institutions, particularly engineering colleges, I used to be stunned to silence when I hear about the new innovations the students invent. Recently, one boy attached an electronic impulse with the cell phone, and then it tells the guy who bought the cell phone, if there is some irregular beating in the heart, it says, come on, there is something wrong with your heart, immediately go there. Another guy invented something, an electronic impulse attached to the price tag. The price of the product is changed as it approaches the expiry date. And one day before the expiry date, the product is sold at incredibly low price and everything is sold out. This type of things, the students are coming with so many inventions. I can make a reference to one guy in Togo, a school dropout. You can actually Google that. You just put a Togo 3D printer. He invented a 3D printer out of e-waste. He proved that waste is not waste until it is wasted. It's a great contribution to the circular economy. And very ordinary guy invented that. And then, having invented that, he said his 3D printer is capable of sending signals to Mars. And those signals are capable of making 3D printer there using the material available there. No one believed that. Then he was asked to demonstrate. He systematically, scientifically, methodically demonstrated. And then he was given a huge award, I think $1.5 million by a leading institute. And he has so far produced, I think, 28 3D printers out of e-waste and donated it to the primary school in his area. So these things are really happening. It is worth learning lessons from all these things. And then, in order to be an effective change maker, you yourself should be a change. You should be a change. And if you are constantly at it, you can really hit it. You take the example of the life of Abraham Lincoln. At the age of 34, he wanted to be a businessman, miserably failed. Then at the age of 42, again, he started another business, miserably failed. At 51, he wanted to be a senator, defeated. Again, at around 56 or something like that, he wanted to be the vice president of US. His wife thought that there was mentally something wrong with him, and she even took him to a psychiatrist for counseling. At 60, he contested for the post of president of US and won, and became the best president of US ever heard. So when you are constantly at it, trying to do something, you will be less successful. And my own experience tells me that work ethics is very important. You have to inculcate that in your mind. Whatever you do, you accept that as a vocation. Some people are accepting job as a vacation. Some are accepting it as an occasion, and some are taking it as a vocation. Those who take it as a occasion, occasionally they do some job, and otherwise they don't take it serious. And for some, they are taking the job as a holiday, it's a vacation. And those who take any assignment, any job as a vocation are sincere, devoted, loyal, and committed. And when you do that, the reward will automatically come. I joined United Nations as a junior consultant, in 1980. And gradually, I took it very serious. I thought it's a golden opportunity, one among million. I should make optimal use of it. And I used to work very hard from Monday to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday also, in order to consolidate my position. And constantly climbing the ladder of career development. And at one point, I was posted when I was posted in Sudan, I took that. It was a conflict-affected country. 21 years of war between South and the North, and conditions were very bad. When I was there, still the war was on. Of course, then came the Comprehensive Peace Agreement. Fortunately, as the head of UN, one of the UN agencies, I was part of it, and eventually they signed an agreement. But I had a big challenge at that time. Raising money for our organization. Our organization's mandate is industrial development. Our organization is supposed to foster UNIDO, is supposed to foster economically efficient, ecologically friendly, and socially desirable pattern of industrial development. So I was totally irrelevant in the UN country meetings, because in a conflict-affected country where 2 million people died and 4 million stranded as internally displaced person, the only priority was the feeding the starving population in pockets of starvation. Nothing else was important. So I could not go and tell the donors that I am here to implement my mandate using technologically advanced and ecologically sound means of production to foster. They would call me madman and you are not relevant here. So I felt enormously incompetent to make interventions befitting our mandate, because everything was humanitarian centric there. Then I thought what to do. Then I wrote to the headquarters and to the counterpart, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, saying that I feel enormously incompetent. Please leave me in peace. For 6 months, I will come out with a new program. And I realized that if you don't use the word humanitarian plus, you are not relevant there. Then I went to an area called the Nuba Mountain region, and interacted with the young boys and girls, internally displaced persons who have come back to the areas of origin or areas of choice. I just gave them a simple questionnaire. I said, list your priorities. Priority number 1, we want to own a piece of land. Number 2, we want international in organizations to help us to cultivate land, increase agricultural productivity, reduce post-harvest losses, and get into semi-processing or further processing and further processing into final products. I captured a niche from that. I thought there is a role for us. Why can't we fabricate improved versions of their traditional agricultural tools, and achieve all these things? And then there was no one to fund. And the only source available was a Japanese contribution to UN Trust Fund for Human Security. I went and talked with the Japanese ambassador. I told him, sir, unavailability of and lack of access to food is also one form of human insecurity. So you should release some fund from Japanese contribution to the UN Trust Fund for Human Security. He said, it's interesting. You come out with a program, concept note. I first submitted a concept note, then came out with a project. He approved, he gave me $1.4 million as a seed money. And to make the long story short, we made it, I should be very modest, under my leadership, of course, my colleagues and UNIDO made a fantastic impact, eradicated extreme poverty in 147 villages just by training the local blacksmiths in fabricating improved versions of agricultural equipment. It made a fantastic impact. And for 3 years, nobody wanted to look at us. Then World Bank came to make an assessment of the impact and compact we made. And they came out with a report. You can Google that, community-based development projects in Sudan, lessons learned. In that report, they say what UNIDO does is the best model for post-conflict recovery and development in terms of sensitization, target beneficiaries, local empowerment, tangible impact, and sustainability. And because of that verdict given by World Bank on the impact and compact of that, then European Union immediately sanctioned $13 million. Today, UNIDO is rolling with $38 million to replicate what we did in Sudan, very simple interventions, making a breakthrough in the quality of rural life across most of the conflict-affected countries. I am very happy to say that myself and my colleagues became global citizens by making this intervention. When I got the assignment, I took it as a will of God. I said it's a great mission given to me to be the voice for the voiceless, hope for the hopeless, and job for the jobless. We could make little impact. So you have to entertain that thought. In addition to all that you achieve in your life as a great professional, it is important that you take any change. In life, it is very important to realize that it is full of challenges. It is important to enjoy difficulties. If you enjoy difficulties, your life will be full of joy, because life is full of difficulties. In life, each challenge is an opportunity. Your personal and professional response to convert challenges into opportunities and opportunities into sustainable sources of wealth creation is a discovery process. You will definitely discover a process. When the heavy wind flows, the optimist will say that, pessimist will say that it's going to destroy everything. Optimist will say that it's going to make a change for the better. So if you make optimistic claims about everything, you can definitely translate your challenges into potential sources of wealth creation and make a great contribution to society. I stop here, and I think I spoke for nearly 30 minutes, and I would like to take questions, if any. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot, sir. Wonderful hearing you. And
please go ahead. Yeah.
There are some questions that we've got from the audience.
Can someone kindly read out that? This will be very convenient.
I'll do that. I'll do that for you, sir.
Yeah.
So one of the things Ranveer is saying that what are some successful examples of youth-led initiatives that have made a significant impact on sustainable development within their communities on a larger scale. So if you have any particular example you would like to share, sir, that would be wonderful.
You mean the youth-led initiatives?
Yes, youth-led initiatives.
Yeah, there was a very big program in India when I was a student. Actually, I go back, I get a flashback. Youth for Poverty Reduction. And then when they implemented the project, initially it went wrong because they were not trained. The youth, the young boys and girls selected for the program from each college were not properly trained. It is like almost NGOs. NGOs are very good at distributing. NGOs are very good at. Yesterday there was a reference to the civil society. I liked that. I liked that intervention. Very good at distributing. But if they are empowered in microfinance, unless they undergo some training, then you don't see the real impact immediately. In Bangladesh, the microcredit was a big success because all the NGOs underwent intensive training on the required capabilities and skills. That's why it was a big success. Everywhere else it failed. It miserably failed except Bangladesh. The reason it was a successful train, what is required is a crash program, intensive program to train the young boys and girls for their effective empowerment in poverty-related interventions. That's a real conditionality, strict conditionality. We should really follow that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah.
There is another question which says, how does functional literacy relate to digital literacy in today's technology-driven world?
Yeah, I will tell you, sir. I will cite the example of Kerala. Kerala is well known for 100% literacy rate. Okay, and then when you look at the functional literacy rate, according to rough estimate and guesstimate, it is 20%. So what happens after completing even engineering degrees, the boys and girls remain in the state of joblessness for a long time because they don't fit into that. Of course, once they cross the border, they learn new skills and capabilities, and they demonstrate their skills very well. It is happening there. So, in order for the functional literacy to be dramatically enhanced, we have to strengthen the linkage between universities. We talk a great deal about university institution linkage, but to be very practical, I recently attended an innovation festival event at a college. I told them that each university, each college should appoint an innovation chair position, and that person, that professor, should work with all the heads of all the departments, and you should create a steering committee with each department for constantly monitoring the rapidly changing pattern of demand for skills in the new era of creative destruction. then dovetail the syllabus and dovetail the orientation to meet those things. Then this will work. Otherwise, we will be only talking about university institution linkages. It is important to monitor rapidly changing pattern of demand for it. And to be very honest, young boys and girls should not be afraid of new technology. And there is a feeling that it appears in the near future in Industry 5.0, everything, whatever you do, even someone working in a barber shop or working in a high-tech industry, everything will be dominated by the use of smart machine, artificial intelligence, and robots. So the students think that, okay, we have no chance. Will I fit into that? No, I think it's wrong. We should make optimistic claim about it. I will just give you one example. When computer was introduced, in one of the states, there was an official agitation even by the government against the introduction of computer, saying that all the typists would lose job. They interpreted the computer as a substitute for typewriter. They did not realize that computer-related activities and services would create millions of jobs. And the same state which organized an agitation against the introduction of computer is now encompassing 5 state-of-the-art techno parks, and the 6th one is in the pipeline. So as new opportunities, new the jobs were created by computers, new technology needs more. To be very honest, sir, my next book is titled Technology and Jobs, Fear or Not to Fear, or Fear or Not Fear. Fear not. Fear or Fear not. That's the title of that. That book contains all case studies to prove that new technology needs more skills and new technology will create new jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, I have one question.
Yeah.
Like in this era, especially for youth, how can they balance economic growth and sustainable development together? Because once the people graduate, they always look for jobs, placements,
Yeah.
And when it comes to making decisions, it is mostly about how much is my package, how much the company is offering. Okay? But sometimes the learning is not great in those environments. Sometimes the company avoid that kind of experience. But still, that's how the world works. People still need money to survive and have a decent life. So how can young people, especially millennials,
I love this question, sir. This is a very, very important question, sir. If you look at the way young boys and girls, after completing even postgraduate engineering degree, through campus recruitment, the salary is around 10 to 15,000 rupees. It's an insult to them compared to all the skills and knowledge they acquired. So they are totally demotivated. I would say that they should seize opportunities to emerge as dynamic entrepreneurs. Instead of accepting, after completing your postgraduate degree and PhD, if you get only 15,000 rupees, while an ordinary construction worker earns nearly 30,000 rupees per month, so it will really demoralize them. So the best thing is not to see. No, you can get a job. If you get a job with a coveted salary, go for that. Otherwise, entertain a thought to emerge as a dynamic entrepreneur. It is possible now because we are living in a digitalized world. And now, my advice to many governments is that you first digitize and go for digitalization. Digitize means you create an inventory of all the resource endowments of a particular state or region or a particular district. Then you also create an inventory of the modern industrial applications of that. And then again, you create an inventory analysis of your distance to the frontiers of best practice in doing a business at the highly disaggregated segments of manufacturing. You can participate. So today, actually, sir, before the evolution of industrial revolution, what happened was industrious revolution. The household sector participated and the household sector responded to growing demand for goods and services. That was industrious revolution. Today, what is happening is industrious revolution, neo-industrious revolution. The neo-industrial revolution means if you have the adaptive capabilities and skills, even sitting in a hut, in a slum, you can participate in the global value chain. So someone in Nigeria sitting in a slum, in a small hut, is manufacturing non-automotive rubber-based components for aircrafts. Globally, he's selling it. So this is possible now. So you have to seize opportunities, all opportunities available, and reduce. Fortunately, today, if you want to emerge as an entrepreneur and reduce your distance to the frontiers of best practice, you can get free institutional technical assistance from institutions. Many are not aware of that. Free technical assistance and business support services. So the young boys and girls should make optimal use of that. For that, we have to erase the ignorance about the role played by institutions and support service systems rendered by various departments.
Absolutely. Great, thanks a lot, sir. So one more thing comes when we talk about disruptive technology, is the question of ethics.
Yes.
With every technology, there is also ethical implications that come along with it.
This is correct.
So how can you save themselves from such dilemmas and minimize the negative effect as well?
It is almost like a sustainable development components, sir. In the past, unless you pollute, you cannot grow. You could not grow. US, UK, all the pioneer of industrial revolution, and then came the first 18th century industrial revolution. 19th. They thought unless you pollute, even China, you cannot grow. Now the trend is changing. That means if you grow, decouple carbon from growth, and faster growth which is complying with the ecological norm, there is high degree of compatibility. Your competitiveness enhanced, your profitability enhanced, and the income is generated. So there was no compatibility. That's why in one of the roundtable discussions on climate change, I think one of our ministers said that you became fat on carbon diet, and let us also consume sufficient quantity of carbon diet, become as fat as you, and then let us sit and negotiate. That is gone. That type of argument is gone. Like that, you talk about ethical values in the business activities. If you do business properly, it is totally compatible with the ethical norms, and you have to incorporate that one into that. It is very important. And see, because of the increasing importance of increasing evidence of high degree of compatibility with the ethical norms and doing business, it is being accepted by everybody now.
Yes, sir. So there is another question that has come. It's about entrepreneurship also has its own disadvantages.
This is correct.
Like finding, from a youth perspective, it's not very easy to find funds, sustain themselves, build a team around it. So there is a lot of struggle that comes along with it. So this question is by Swati Narayan.
And this is correct. Entrepreneurship essentially entails risk-taking and risk-bearing. And whenever we talk about it, the first question is, where are the funds? How can I get funds? Believe me, the trend is changing. It is not the funds that matters now. Your innovative idea matters. I know someone in Kerala, I'm in Africa. Thailand is exporting cassava in semi-processed form to Europe for as animal feed, minting 23 billion packs every year. So in cassava is growing everywhere in Africa. You don't plant it, you don't water, you don't manure. And then one guy thought, this white gold, why can't I get into this? What he said? He first prepared a concept note saying that I would like to benefit from Thailand technology. I would like to start a joint venture between our country and this Thai. Then the government reviewed that, they encouraged him, gave him a ticket, and go to Thailand, negotiate with the guy. It's an innovative idea. Once they are convinced that, okay, this innovative idea can be translated into a global factory, you automatically get support. I'm citing one practical example what happened in one of the African countries. So that boy went there, negotiated, found a partner, he brought them, and he used Thai technology. There was a joint venture operation did emerge, and now he's earning nearly $125 million per year. So innovative idea is very important. Take the example of seaweed. Seaweed is available everywhere. You just collect it. I saw it in Zanzibar when I was there. Farmers were just collecting it without even adding little value, without even washing the seaweed using the seawater. They were handing it over to the agents, collecting it for global operations. And then they paid only $20 against the world market price of $120 per ton. Then we made an intervention. We help these people to get into some degree of processing, at least cleaning it, cutting it into pieces, packing it properly. And now they are getting the world market price. And the impact is their children are going to the university, doing professional courses in the mainland in Thailand. These are all things I witnessed in person. So it is not the question of money alone that matters. Of course, money is important. Come out with the innovative ideas to translate a small idea, business idea, into a global factory. I think anybody with one brain cell would definitely support. You will get the institutional support system, institutional technical assistance, and business support services. This is what I saw across countries and continents.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, sir. We now almost have come to the end of the conversation, and I really want to thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Jebamalai's words have been like a guiding light, showing us a path towards a better tomorrow. Let's draw some inspiration from his experience with United Nations and beyond. He has highlighted the principles that can shape the brighter future for youth, and they can become the change makers for tomorrow. Sir, we really like the way you have explained the functional literacy and its direct proportion to the growth of the community and the nation, and how should we balance, how should have an ecological balance and economic balance, including social inclusion. That is also a very important point that you have covered. You have given wonderful examples, sir. The real life examples that can inspire any one of us to move forward. And you also always, throughout the speech, you've always reminded us the importance of giving back to our communities and fostering a global perspective, rather than just looking from a perspective that what I can get from this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you very much for the great opportunity. I feel honored.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.